Staying on the topic of Trump, though, what do you think about JD Vance? What do you think about his pick?
I like him. I mean, this is a guy that had a rough upbringing. More or less, his mother was married several times. I don't know to what degree he even knew his father. Ended up living with his grandparents, took their last name. Um, Member of the Marines, went to law school. At Yale, met his wife, who is Indian, um, from the country of India, at Yale Law School. Not part of the cesspool, not part of the establishment, which is one reason I like him. I like him a lot, actually. He's young. He's an embodiment of the American dream. Here again, this is a dude, no one gave him anything. He had a very rough upbringing, made the best of his life, gave back to the country, went to the military, highly educated, got a law degree from Yale. And so um, these are all very positive things. But most importantly, you cannot say that he's part of the swamp. Uh, so I think that's also encouraging. So I like it. I like the choice a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't a diversity pick to like a lot of people were thinking Trump was gonna go with
Tim Scott.
someone black or some
Tim
or yeah
Scott.
or
Yeah.
and I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad that one he this dude was a Marine because I feel like we need to focus on our military more, especially
You mean
you
a
know I'm
diversity pick like Kamala Worthless Harris, the
right
border czar?
exactly. And he's
Right.
so young. I love how young JD is, and I see a lot of potential. I'm really glad. I was worried that Trump would. Actually, no, I wasn't. There was a chance, you hear all these mainstream media like maybe he would do this to try to capitalize on more voters or whatever. But I didn't think he would, honestly, after what just happened. So yeah, I'm glad that he picked JD.
Me
So
too.
I know you were just at the Rick Rules symposium. How was that, man? How was that?
I mean, it's always the best show of the year, in my opinion, and right, a close second to the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference, or that would be a close second to this. Um, Mainly because it's in my backyard here in Boca, but flying to Vancouver from Florida is a kind of a pain in the ass. But it's a great show too. It was good. It was not as well attended as I would have liked, but that's again what we've seen in the last 6 months with the outflows out of the ETFs and the soft retail demand. It wasn't as attended as I would have liked, but a lot of great speakers there. Jim Rickards and Bill Bonner and Nomi Prince, and some real heavyweights. And it was great. I mean, I always get a lot out of it. Rick has been a very good friend to me, and a great person to be associated with. So I would never miss his show. And um, but I think it's, if you want to use it as a gauge of the interest in this country, it was, I thought, nowhere near as well attended as it has been in the years past. That's not a statement on the quality of the show, but rather a statement on how awake the public is, but worthy of going nonetheless.
Keith Newmeyer, actually, man, I love Keith.
I was
You
there. I
should, you
talked
should,
with him quite a bit, actually. He was
yeah.
right next to me. We were
Please,
right next to each
please
other.
please give me an interview with him because,
I can do that, no problem at all. I would
man,
consider a decent friend.
nice. Yeah, because I was covering one of his interviews from there, from Kitco. I like how Keith actually talks about price manipulation
You know
and things
why?
that,
He's a businessman. He actually told me he watches my videos. And so maybe he told me that this week, which kind of blew me away. Maybe he's watching
yeah.
you and I, and that's why you were mentioned. He's a businessman. Everyone else is a geologist in his position. He has run very successful businesses in this industry, so he understands concepts of business
Yeah,
and how to do things right rather than just focusing on geologic formations.
man. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And when you'll listen to someone like Phillips Baker speak, which is the CEO of like Hecla Mining, and like his interview, or I guess his speech at the at Silver Institute's Silver's new role in the green economy last year that they pushed on, and how he went in for probably 30 minutes mentioning there's no silver shortage, and how we have plenty of silver above ground, but then the second half just goes into all the reasons why we don't have enough silver to go green, and how impossible, it's just contradicting, and it would never mention anything about price or what really affects the price. And Keith actually yesterday in a video he mentioned that silver should actually be $70 right now when mentioning like what the adjusted price would be if we lived in like an actual realistic world. He said $70 was his
I
thoughts.
asked him again. I asked him 4 or 5 days ago to his face, is it still coming out of the ground at 7 to 1? He said, "Oh yeah, absolutely."
Yeah.
So I mean, it's decreasing in nature. And if you use the 40 to 1 rough ratio of where it's been priced at for the last 100 plus years, right now, 2456 divided by 40 is 61.
Yeah.
So,
And that's probably why he got that. Yeah, it makes sense.
it's close, but if you take it by what it's coming out of the ground at, well, that's 350.
Mm.
So, it's one of these deals where silver is wickedly undervalued, and you know there was an interesting chart that I used during my presentation where I wonder if I can share. Let me see. Hang on. First I gotta find it.
Do they live stream your stuff?
No, it's recorded. Yeah, they did live stream it, but you had to be part of the.
Oh, man, I
Are
know,
you
man.
able? Let me see if I can share this. Hold
Yeah,
on.
I could let you share it. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me share. I'll
Multiple.
show you
Okay,
something.
now you can. Yeah, man. If I had like a
You
heads
see my
up, I.
screen? All right, you
Yeah.
see
Well,
that?
it says. Hold on. It says you started. Okay, there you go. Yep, I see it.
All right. So what that is, the red is the top four banks on Comex, and the eight or the green are the eight banks. So the green is the combination of red plus four others.
Right. Okay.
So you, in essence, just focus on the green line. The green line are eight bullion banks that are short. This is how short they are. And look at all of these commodities. Look at oil. Look at sugar, soybeans, cotton, copper, and then look at silver. You have eight banks who control the largest short position in the history of the COMEX market in silver. And look at the top four: silver, platinum, gold, palladium. I think it's unbelievable. And then the very next chart, when you talk about the next slide I showed, when you talk about this wicked short position, is this one. Well, look at the silver being drained from the Western vaults. That's the LBMA. So you use this suppression. Our opponents are like China and India. They use that suppression against us to do this. And
Mm.
that's really the point here, is that it's being used against us right now. And there is a company, I don't know if you've covered this at all, on Comex. I mean, on the Shanghai. Well, they're on the Shanghai Metals Exchange, and their name is, I don't know if you've covered it all. Shanghai. Have you covered that at all?
Possibly. I don't.
Zhongcai, ZHONGCAI. Over the last month, we have seen large amounts of gold delivered off of COMEX to China. I've talked about that a bit, about how we saw $500 million worth delivered to BRICS Hong Kong, how there is a contract that was created by the CME Group in 2015 that allows for this. BRICS Hong Kong is a COMEX facility that then gets trucked over to the Shanghai Gold Exchange. The kilo bars are what are always delivered off of COMEX, but the funny thing is that the COMEX deals in 100-ounce bars. They have a mini contract that deals in kilo bars.
Oh.
And, so we've been seeing all of these kilo bars being drained, and Zhonghai Futures is standing for delivery on all of this stuff. And there are unconfirmed sources that continue to say, several of them, that gold in China or is being delivered in China and taken by the bullion banks with COMEX access. And it appears as though JP Morgan is the counterparty, the short to Shanghai's long. So when Shanghai goes long on COMEX, someone goes short, and that's JP Morgan. Well, the difference is the what is being intimated here is that Shanghai is a proxy for the People's Bank of China. And because as of last week, their futures position showed a total of 31,000 long positions in gold, equal to a margin, just the margin of 21 billion yuan. This is 31 tons of gold. They also have massive positions in silver, and they have been standing for delivery. So, in other words, JP Morgan is getting clubbed as the price goes higher because they're short on the other side of this. And um, that's how I've been saying we're losing the game. These countries are standing for delivery. We've seen silver also continue its draining process. The first days of the August contract, just a few days ago, in silver off of COMEX, saw 5.71 million ounces delivered just the first day, delivered to a company account known as PTG. No one knows who PTG is. What does that stand for? Don't know. At the same time, we see continued deposits, withdrawals on COMEX out of SLV and the other ETFs. Shanghai Gold Exchange published their silver statistics recently, just the other day. Last week, 215,355 kilograms of silver were delivered in one day. That's 7.6 million ounces left the Shanghai Metals Exchange. That is the size of, or the weight of 108 cars or 60 African elephants, adult African elephants. So we continue to see massive deliveries off of the exchanges. And you know, this is exactly how we are losing the game. They continue to drain the exchanges, the sovereign governments on behalf of, or the governments are doing it through the banks or these entities, these hedge funds or these banks that are state owned or proxies for. And when you realize, have we talked at all? Did I talk with you about the unit and Project Enbridge on this
Yeah.
show?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Project
the
Enbridge,
unit
yeah.
currency, which is going to be backed by gold, and the white paper says the gold will be held within the borders of the countries that possess it. You can see why everyone is repatriating their gold, which is a massive deal, right? I mean, because in the last 2.5 years, you've had Czechoslovakia, South Africa, Cameroon, Algeria, Venezuela, Serbia, France, Turkey, India, Ghana, Poland, Hungary, Belgium, Egypt, Senegal, Romania, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, the Netherlands, Argentina, Slovakia, Austria, Germany, and on and on and on. All of these countries repatriated their gold from the New York Fed and the Bank of England. The Bank of England gives direct access to the LBMA and the New York Fed to the COMEX. The white paper of the unit currency, settlement currency, says that the gold will be 40% and the basket of currency 60%. That is this new unit token. Um, it's redeemable in kilo bars. Why do you think we keep seeing kilo bars drained off the exchanges?
Mm.
Why are all of these central banks repatriating their gold? Why didn't India buy 1.5 times the amount of gold in the first 4 months of this year than they did all of last year and bring it all home? Why did they bring 100 metric tons that they've held at the New York or at the London Metals Exchange or Bank of England since 1991? 100 metric tons. They just brought that home. Why are all of these banks doing that? Because they understand that they don't need access to the LBMA or COMEX anymore. The new settlement currency will be a basket of currencies of the BRICS nations and a basket of commodities. And I did an interview with Vince Lancy yesterday, and Vince is saying, countries like China and India will peg their currency to gold so that it comprises the majority of the currencies within the basket, which gives greater demand and boosts their central bank digital currency. At the same time, as these countries have been selling bonds, who's been buying our bonds? Well, idiots like the United Kingdom, who's also broke. So you have a broke country buying the bonds of an even broker country who is selling those bonds to the broke country UK just to pay interest on the debt they already have out there, and to buy commodities from the BRICS countries. The BRICS countries take those dollars, and instead of putting them back into treasuries, they're buying more gold with it because it will be the peg to a new system of the new BRICS settlement system. And it's traded over Project Enbridge, which is not dollar compatible, which Saudi Arabia just became a full participant in. And I want people to understand that the Bank of International Settlements is behind Enbridge too. And when the Bank of International Settlements uh, told all the central banks in 2017 to bring back their gold, Bundesbank, Hungary, Austria, Turkey, Poland, the Czech National Bank, Dutch National Bank, and then they went on a wicked buying spree in 2018 and 19, and then just miraculously the BIS said gold's now tier one. Well, they're also behind Project Enbridge. And so they've told all these banks, buy the hell out of as much gold as you can and repatriate it, because the unit token that you will make, which will allow you to settle in this new settlement currency traded over Enbridge, which has no dollar capability or compatibility, and so you won't be able to be sanctioned. You'll be able to keep the gold in your own borders, having it independently audited, of course, with very stiff penalties if you deviate from the protocol. But why do you think they're all bringing their gold home? Because they know what is coming. The BIS told them. And the people in the West just are going to get run over by this. So, yeah, this is a big deal, dude. As big as it gets. I think it's just beginning.